down. Some way simple, some profound, but
Hey, Broadway Christian, we are online with Dr. Katherine from Germany. So she's sitting in her, I assume you're in an apartment of some kind there in Berlin. Yeah. And we were trying to talk a little bit about just what to share with today, and the idea of pace of life started to come up in our conversation. And so just think a little bit about Katie and I, when this whole virus thing happened, she said that she feels like the world has slowed down to her pace, and rather than her trying to keep up with it. And for me, I tend to be always a few steps ahead of maybe where I should be, or ahead of others. And so I've had to slow down and figure others. And so, Katherine, what has pace look like for you in this season as a doctor and one who's seeking to train people? And yeah, what's your pace looking like these days?
A lot slower than I like, that's for sure. Yeah, a lot of things that just got canceled. I had a schedule of workshops, I had schedule of conferences to where I was speaking, and lots of travel, and also school, and also, I've developed a pretty good network of friends, like a network that a better and more deeper, but also a little bit broader network of friends than I had when I was living in Bangkok. And so I get used to having like a good rhythm. Like I would work and I work hard, but then I'd have my friends and we play hard, and just being able to have a variety of things to look forward to. And then that all came to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
And so then I found myself just working myself to death. I mean, not to death, but really trying to maintain an energy.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there was coronavirus, and as a doctor, being asked to speak on another number of different issues regarding that, and so then it was exciting. But then I was just trying to keep busy because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's stuff to do. I'm not bored. I've got loads that I can be doing. But then I just got swallowed in. There was no real priority
Yes.
to help me focus, because without having the next conference or the next talk or the next workshop, and then a series of webinars started coming up, but they weren't really in my focus area. So that it was interesting, having to do with human trafficking or prostitution, and so that would draw my focus, but then I'd have to pull back and say, wait, I'm busy with a lot of stuff, but I'm not feeling very productive.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I had to take some time back and just say, okay, let's focus a little bit. Finally, my school started online, so it's online Zoom for 2 hours every day. It was supposed to be 3 hours of class. I'm like, thank goodness the teacher decided to,
Uh-huh.
we'll have more days but fewer hours in the day.
Uh-huh.
So, but then having to just come back and get some focus about what I wanted to accomplish and what I needed to do. What can I do for Relentless? What I can do for survivors? What can I do for organizations in the midst of all this?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What you described there, of like all that energy in the first couple of weeks, figuring things out, and there's things to do. That's the way that Broadway and our staff felt. There's a lot of things in that first couple of weeks to get in place and line up, and just decisions to make about how we're going to do this or do that. And there's no manual, there's no way to do it. So we're just kind of figuring stuff out. And then it feels like the last couple of weeks for me, I feel like, oh, okay, now this is kind of a new normal now, and that kind of buzz of activity is done. And I'm asking myself now, what am I supposed to be doing with myself? What am I supposed to be doing as a leader right now? And I just got off a call with 7 other pastors here in the city. We gather together for prayer once a month, and so we did it on Zoom today. And these are all leaders who are used to making decisions and being out in front, and kind of knowing what we're supposed to be doing next, and we all are just kind of shrugging our shoulders.
Right.
What are we doing right now? And
Yeah.
that's hard and challenging, but also maybe what all of us need in our soul right now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So
So-
are you getting to do the other kind of pacing that you enjoy doing? Are you getting out and running?
Oh yeah, thank goodness the contact restrictions. Oh, we're not allowed to gather in groups of more than 2, so we can go out in pairs. But we can go to the parks are still open. I can go run as much as I want, and so I'm still training, still running. Very grateful for that because
Good.
I know there's some places that can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
it's
is
good.
what's going on with the virus in Berlin? How has the impact been?
Um, well, Berlin has, I mean, it's the largest city in, I mean, it didn't start here, but it quickly became sort of a hub. Um, I mean, it's, it's not, it doesn't seem overwhelming. Like you hardly know anything's going on. And I don't know if that's the media or if I don't think it's happening quite like it is in New York City or Italy. I mean, the hospitals are working. I mean, they're working hard, but it's not every place is overwhelmed. Um, you don't see pictures of refrigerator trucks backing
Right.
up. I mean, we're accepting patients from other countries. We're
Okay.
sending ventilators out to other places.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the death rate of coronavirus patients is extremely low. There's several reasons for that. People mostly keeping their head about what to do, although yeah, it's been interesting having the German reaction. Also, the difference between the East Germans and my West German friends, because I have friends that grew up in East Berlin and then friends that grew up in West
Oh, wow.
Berlin.
And what's the difference there?
Um, well, the East Berliners are a lot less happy with the restrictions, a lot
Mm,
less trustful of the government,
Interesting.
and a lot less happy with the way things are going down, a lot more frustrated. The West Berliners, not so much. So it's an interesting take on that.
Yeah, that is interesting. I had never even thought of about that difference
Yeah,
between those two groups of people. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense that they would respond differently to
yeah,
government control.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, Angela Merkel a few weeks ago gave an outstanding speech, and people are really rallying around behind her. And yeah, so I think overall they're handling it pretty well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's been strange here in Fort Wayne. We have some doctors and PAs and nurses at Broadway, and one of them described it as when you're a kid going to school and a bully every day telling you he's going to punch you, but he never does, and it's just been this kind of waiting for, this wave of work and activity and being overloaded that hasn't happened yet here either. And so it's just a really weird time to be alive, a really weird time to just try to know how to respond to what's going on in the world, no matter who you are.
yeah.
So, yeah. Well, Katherine, is there any way we can be praying for you as a church?
No, I think I have, no, but as I was thinking about what to share, and I don't know if we're going to ask this, but in that time of activity or busyness without a good sense of productivity, I found myself really sleeping poorly too. And there
Mm-hmm.
are a couple weeks that I, I mean, really, I would get like 4 hours of sleep, like maybe not more than 4 or 5, and then one night I'd get like 10 hours, and then it would come again. And I mean, this is for me. I've never been a great sleeper, and I've had a lot of problems, so a lot of years, a lot of problems to sleep. I mean, this is not a new thing. In fact, this is not this is not new for a lot of people at Broadway. There's a lot of people who have lots of problems for whatever reason sleeping. But it was really unusual for me to kind of now during this time have really like really bad sleep. But I would wake up but I wasn't full of angst. I didn't feel anxious. It wasn't because, oh, it's Corona. I wasn't afraid. Didn't feel anxious. I felt at peace. And so I have some meditation apps, and some podcasts I listen to and certain music, and I would pray. Then, I'd get up and read what I was reading, but just really pray and then just ask and just say, just be in that moment. And sometimes I'd get back to sleep, but a lot of times I wouldn't.
Mhm.
And then I'd be really tired, but hey, I don't have any meetings, so I can take a nap on my couch.
Right. Right.
The only thing I have to interrupt is my own work. So
Mm.
taking naps, was an option, but I was still okay. And then, but it was like, what's wrong? Because a lot of times when I have trouble sleeping, like I know I'm anxious about something, there's something eating me, or I've got this, or I've got this coming up I'm excited about. And then I heard a podcast by James Finley, who wrote a book about Thomas Merton. He was just talking. It's a podcast about walking with the mystics, and talking about Thomas Merton, and how Thomas Merton was telling him one time that, it might be sometimes if you have trouble sleeping and you're just waking up and praying, that there's someone somewhere in the world, God is using that prayer to touch another person.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, well, I'm not a mystic. I'm not going to say I'm a mystic, but that was real confirmation about that. It's not just it. If you can't sleep, it's who you're going to be. It's not getting upset that you can't sleep. It's who are you in a moment.
Mm.
And who are we in those moments, whether it's day or night, or with somebody, or the fact that you're not with anyone, if you're alone, or if you have not enough space alone sometimes. But also those moments when I just felt God just wanted my attention for some reason. And I wasn't getting any word. I wasn't getting any specific dreams. I wasn't getting any Bible verses. I wasn't getting any particular names or places. It was just it's like God just wanted to be with me, and he was asking me to be with him in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, so that, fortunately, I'm back to sleeping mostly good now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was about probably, maybe 10 days, almost 2 weeks, where I was going through that time of when a lot of this was happening. And so it was just like, and usually when I have trouble sleeping, it's just like, okay, don't be anxious about not sleeping, just be in the moment. But I think during this time, it was particularly poignant.
Mm-hmm.
Something that was really like, yeah, this is, yeah, really, really between God and I. So I just thought, okay, well, maybe I'll share this for other people who are, maybe they're experiencing the same thing. And then God is using that, even if you're not getting anything specific. It's just being present to God, who's always present to you.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I think even whether it be not being able to sleep, or just having a moment of stress or anxiety in the morning, or parents with kids, or that you're struggling with, in that struggle,
Yeah.
that we're always trying to fight to get out of the struggle. Like that's always the goal, is to be on the other side of it. And maybe that what we really need to do is recognize where God is in that moment, and to really see where he is in that moment. And that's where he wants to meet us.
Yeah.
So that's a good word. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Katherine, we appreciate you. We're so glad we get to be a part of the work you're doing. And thanks for joining us today. We love you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be a part of this. And yeah, maybe, maybe we'll do this again or
That'd
something.
be great. That'd be great. Do you have plans to come back anytime, or is that on your calendar to be back in the States?
No, and especially not now.
Well, of course not now, right? But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, this year was pretty open. But yeah, now now it's really open. So we'll see.
Okay. All right.
I'll let you know for sure.
Sure. All right, Katherine. Well, peace to you. Peace to you, Broadway.
Yep.